We constantly receive a huge amount of information through our five senses, and while the estimates vary considerably, an order of magnitude of 2 to 11 megabits of information per second can be considered a reasonable figure. As we are unable to process such large quantities of information consciously, neuronal filters in our brain do the sorting for us. For the purpose of this filtering, three principal mechanisms come into play. Suppression. This process allows the brain to limit the quantity of information that needs to be processed by focusing attention on certain aspects of the environment and by ignoring others. For example, as you listen to this text, you are, hopefully, conscious of what you are listening to. But if I now ask you to focus your attention on the amount of pressure your shoes are exerting on your feet, you will immediately become conscious of this pressure. The physical sensation was there all along, but, unless your feet were actually hurting you, was not present in your conscious mind until I drew your attention to it. Distortion. This involves modifying or replacing the information that is received to make something completely different out of it. An obvious example of this mechanism is someone hearing something that is significantly different to what you actually said. A more extreme example is what happens when someone falls in love, when an image of another person as the perfect match or soulmate can be created when in reality the other person may not live up to these expectations at all. Nevertheless, in both examples, the distortion mechanism greatly simplifies the information processing requirements for the receiver. Generalization. This filtering process, which allows one to create clusters and categories from one or a small number of experiences, is intrinsic to all learning activities. We learn rules from representative examples, and we apply those rules to quickly understand and interpret new situations. Mathematical rules and the laws of science are good examples of generalizations. Our personal beliefs are also examples of generalizations. They provide us with the means to react quickly to events on the basis of our prior experience. However, contrary to scientific laws which are mostly updated when new knowledge emerges, individuals have a marked tendency to focus on things that confirm and reinforce their existing beliefs and to ignore experiences which challenge them. The way these filters operate is different for every individual. At a more detailed level, it depends on our relationship to time and space, the structure and the sophistication of the language we use to formulate our thoughts, our memories, our past decisions, our values and beliefs, and what are called metaprograms. Metaprograms can be described as perceptual filters or dominant thought processes. A tendency to be attracted towards things you desire versus a tendency to avoid things you don't want. Big chunk or visionary thinking versus small chunk or detail thinking. Preference for self-reference when it comes to making choices versus preference for external references are all examples of such metaprograms. All taken together, these individual filters determine the perceptions that form in our conscious mind, which can handle only 7 to 40 bits of information per second. This, in turn, determines how we perceive any given situation and how we react to it, each in our own unique way.